Microphone's on. Call to order the meeting of Greenwood Advisory Plan Commission for Monday, August 26, 2024. First item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from August 12th, 2024.
Motion to approve.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Milborn, second by Mr. Lexi. Since we do have, I see at least one member participating virtually, we'll have to do a roll call vote. Mr. Lexi?
Aye.
Mr. Price?
Aye.
Mr. Milborn?
Aye.
Mr. Probst?
Aye.
Mr. Shell?
Aye.
Mr. St. John?
Aye.
And I am an aye. Motion carries.
Sherry is online.
She has to be able to be seen and heard to participate. Can you see her and hear her?
She's at the bottom.
Well, this motion will be 7-0, right? This motion will carry 7-6. Did I count?
Well, Mr. Walker is absent.
I have 7 with me. Right, 6 here.
John
7 online.
John
Mr.
Shell's
Shell's
online.
online.
Minutes are approved 7-0. Any special requests or continuances?
Yes, we have multiple on this petition. I believe the petitioner is in person to prove that they have a reason or burden where it is required. But we've also received some written requests. One is for the withdrawal of BC 2024-012. That is Elmwood Estates 2 primary plat. That has been withdrawn from the agenda and it should no longer be considered a part of our business. And the 2 requests for continuances were for PC 2024-035 and PC 2024-036. For the primary plats, the waiver was not requested to be continued. It was requested to be heard through our email conversations. I'll pass these down. Please take one. But I see that the petitioner is here to formally make this request.
Okay. But Mr. Prime.
Thanks. For the record, Eric Prime, Big David Law Firm, on behalf of petitioner Apollo. With regard to the withdrawn matter, I'm not here to speak on that. That's off the agenda. The 2 primary plats, the north section of Walker Commons and the southeast section of Walker Commons, are both on your agenda for approval of primary plats. Based upon our interactions with staff and ongoing amendments to both of those plats, we are seeking to continue the specific plat approval for each of those. In fact, we had a TAC meeting as late as last Wednesday where additional changes were requested. So those are not right for consideration. However, we do believe the waiver requests are right and in particular need to be heard before we get to final approval of the plat for the southeast section. It has 2 stub streets coming into it that are at issue. So those we need to have to stay on the docket if the commission is willing to do so. But otherwise, we would like to continue the 2 primary plat considerations.
Gabe, this might be a question or maybe for the attorney. How do we split continuing 036? Does it?
We have 2 separate primary plats. They have 2 separate docket numbers.
Oh, this is the agenda has one.
No, the waiver is for one of the primary plats, so it shares a number with it. I think that they would like to know if the waiver is granted or not to determine how they're going to design the primary plat.
So we can
You can consider the waivers
first
and
come
then
back.
do the plat, and that may tell them whether you grant it or not, what they do with the plat. But do you have a date specific in mind to continue these items to?
September 23rd.
So really with that, we should pause on considering unless anybody has any concerns with it. Hear the waiver request and that kind of determines what they want to do. Well, 035, they want to continue, is that right? That's,
They want to continue, yes, 2024-035, which is Walker Common North primary plat. There was also a request to continue PC 2024-036, which is the Walker Common Southeast primary plat. The waiver requests will be considered at this meeting.
so I guess first, PC 2024-035, they requested to continue that to September 23rd. Is there any thoughts on that? Or I'll entertain a motion.
I think we should hear it on the 23rd.
So you're moving, just to-
That's my motion,
your motion continue to
September 23rd.
September 23rd on 035. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Milborn. All right. Roll call then. Mr. Lexi,
Aye.
Mr. Price. Aye. Mr. Milborn,
Aye.
Mr. Probst,
Aye.
Mr. Shell,
Aye.
Mr. St. John. Aye. And I'm an aye. So that motion carries 7-0. So that is continued to September 23rd. So the other continuance, and it's just kind of my thought, is we kind of need to wait to see what we do with the waiver and then entertain a motion there. That's all right.
No, you don't have to. You can go ahead and do the plat and then act on the waivers, and then
Okay.
you can act on the plat. They will modify it or not, depending on what you do with the waivers.
Okay. So we can continue the primary plat of 2024-036, but we'd still hear the waiver tonight. So, correct.
Do you have a date on that?
Same
Same date?
day, right?
Same day.
I move that we hear this project on September 23rd, PC 2024-036, Walker Commons Southeast primary plat.
All right, I have a motion by Mr. Probst, second by Mr. Milborn. And with the roll call vote, Mr. Lexi.
Aye.
Mr. Price.
Aye.
Mr. Milborn.
Aye.
Mr. Probst.
Aye.
Mr. Shell.
Aye.
Mr. St. John.
Aye.
And I am an aye. Motion carries 7-0. So the two primary plats are continued to the meeting on September 23rd. So that takes care of all of the requests and continuances. No findings of fact. Old business was withdrawn. Any old business from the floor? Seeing none. The first two items under new business, docket numbers PC 2024-035 and -036 were just continued to September 23rd. That leaves us with docket number PC 2024-036, the Walker Commons Southeast waiver request. Now, this is not a public hearing, but we will hear from the same petitioner. So, go ahead.
Thank you. And for the record, Eric Prime Van Baylor, law firm on behalf of petitioner Apollo. So for your consideration this evening, we have a waiver request of the door UDO's connectivity requirement. And so I'll try to keep this as simple as I can. When this matter came before this body for its recommendation to the council, it was forwarded with a favorable recommendation. I believe the vote was 6-2. And then it got to council. At the council meeting, as part of the discussion of the approval, a commitment was, actually several commitments were put forward, one of which was that there would be no vehicular connectivity for 3 substreets, specific streets within the proposed development, or streets that stubbed into the proposed development. That was voted upon and approved. So my clients had been committed to not connect at these 3 specific substreets, 2 of which are on the southeast plat that was up for consideration originally tonight. So those are the 2 waivers that we're talking about this evening. There will be eventually a 3rd one for the 3rd substreet when that southwest parcel comes up for consideration, but it is not yet on the docket. So where we've landed on this is a commitment not to connect. And then in an unusual step, that came up again at the city council. They reconsidered whether or not they should keep that in place, and it was voted on again, and it was kept in place again. So my clients have been told now twice in no uncertain terms that they cannot connect to those substreets. When it came time to file the plat, obviously we go through the staff on that process, and staff took a look at your UDO, which requires connectivity, and had some concerns about how they or you would approve a plat with no connectivity when your own ordinance requires it. So I believe they did a fantastic job of threading the needle on how this will work, and my clients are willing to go along with that. So if you reviewed the staff report, they have asked us to dedicate right-of-way. All of the streets within these subdivisions will be dedicated to the city anyway. So they've asked for that additional dedication of right-of-way to get to the sub-streets, and then to have us pave up there and block it off with bollards. And so I will show you. There we go. All right, so on your map, you can see, I believe it's pronounced Leah Lane or maybe Lee Lane, LEA. That stubs out to the north into what will be the southeastern section of this development. And then Green Valley Drive curves and stubs basically straight to the east, again, into what will be a future section of this development. This is a little closer view of each one of those. So staff has proposed 5 conditions that they would, in which, and if we agree to those 5, where they would support or recommend a favorable approval by you of these waivers. The first is the right-of-way dedication, as I mentioned. So we would actually give right-of-way to the city to get up to those connections, if and whenever in the future that would ever be done. Do infrastructure improvements, which would include sidewalks even up to the property line. Put in traffic control measures that would include safe barricades or other means to restrict vehicular connectivity in keeping with our commitment. And also provide advanced warning signage on those 2 streets that would say dead end, no through traffic, that kind of thing. And also provide, if the length of the road is greater than 150 feet, means for fire equipment to turn around and get out. So given everything that's happened in this matter, we are willing to adhere to those 5 conditions. And in an effort to move this matter forward, it is crucial for our purpose that the waiver that we are seeking, waivers that we are seeking to not connect to those streets is granted by this body so that we can move forward in the planning process. So you can kind of see that in a way the catch-22 here, right? So we need the waiver of that requirement to connect in order to move forward. We are required not to connect by 2 separate votes of the common council. So this, as I said, I think is a way to thread that needle. There is still not vehicular connectivity, but there is at least the potential, if everything changes down the road, for some future connectivity. It won't be done by my client because we've committed not to do that. But it will be, we'll be able to move forward with our project and kind of get out of this trick bag that we found ourselves in.
All right. Staff, do you have anything to add to this?
Yes, I do want to clarify, the report that you received says that the staff will not be unfavorable if the commission conditions are met. It does not say that we are favorable. I would like that to be clarified in the record. At the council meeting, as Mr. Prime described, they had commitments placed on them by Councilman Mr. Hopper. He said that I said that what is being proposed conflicts with our subdivision ordinance. This is from the minutes. The ordinance asks for connectivity between subdivisions and parcels. With what is being proposed, it is likely that if it is approved, they'll have to go to the Plan Commission, who typically has the ability to have waivers to the subdivision ordinance. Since they are suggesting commitments that directly oppose the subdivision ordinance. Mr. Hopper said that the council approved the subdivision ordinance, so it is their prerogative to not abide by it. Not sure I agree with that, but that is the situation that we have found ourselves in. Staff would like to keep the option open for if this commitment were to ever change, or the connectivity to not be something that has to be constructed at the expense of the city, which is why we are asking for the right of way to connect to the edge of the property line. During the discussion, Mr. Hopper also said that there would still be connectivity for pedestrian traffic. You can walk and bike and run, and there are still exits for public safety purposes. I believe that his intent was that public safety would be able to use that. The commitment was frivolously added on at the end where it just said no vehicular connection. Is a fire truck a vehicle? I don't know. He seemed to intend that you could have public safety, but his commitment was not well written out. So this is the situation we have ourselves in today. Without the conditions that staff has proposed, I would be very unfavorable of this, and it is still not a situation that I like being in, or that I like that council put the Plan Commission in.
With that, I'll open the floor to the commission. Thoughts, comments, questions?
The question is, this is not going to be completed this time, then for that infrastructure to be completed in the future will be out of all the taxpayers' expense.
Yeah, if there's just the bollards, sometimes that word gives me trouble. It would be less cost prohibitive to remove those at a future date. There is still on Lee Lane, about I think an 18-foot gap on the right of way that is not on their property. The other connection does run straight up to the property line. So that is why staff would like the pavement to go all the way to the property line. That way, you know, if you're stopping 100 feet short and someday maybe it's future residents want that to connect, it would not be as difficult. With that too, the fire connectivity and public safety is a concern of ours. Currently, Lee Lane and the other Green Valley connection are over 150 feet long. It is state fire code that if you have a dead end street that's over 150 feet long, you should have a fire turnaround. Currently, they are not in compliance. By not connecting this, we are continuing to not bring this into compliance with the fire. It is possible that some type of a turnaround could be provided. I think with the bollards, they're removable for like fire department can have a key to them or something. It would alleviate that requirement for a turnaround there.
What about any of the infrastructure force, like the fire hydrants in that area?
I think,
Storm surge, sanitary, that stuff.
yeah, that should all be provided for. I mean, staff would like the curb, storm curbs, et cetera, to be run to the property line. Our city engineer is here, he may be able to better answer that technical question.
Yeah, I think as far as storm sewer go, they would incorporate that storm sewer back into their site, so they'd have the storm sewer falling back to the east, to the north. It would just be a matter of making sure the grading worked, and then fire hydrants, there's minimum spacing and minimum requirements for those for fire code, and our fire marshal make sure those are always in the right spot.
So the streets was all connected from the initial, the boundary put in place, but that's still achieve the same thing at this point.
Same thing as what, as
Well,
getting emergency connectivity.
when it was passed the first time with those would all be, the connectivity would be there. Now you're saying it'd be a separation in those. What if those were put in, the ballots were put in place? This time, I guess that would piece everyone, and then you'd still have that taken care of in the future.
I think staff, not speak for staff, but I would say staff believes that putting the bollards in would meet the intent of the commitment, if not the letter of ordinance.
Yeah, I think with Lee Lane, where there is that gap, they can work within the right of way. Prefer for that to be pavement and not, right now it's actually been, I believe, mass graded for a street. So it is already graded for a roadway, because that was always the intent, was that it was to go through. But we would want that to be paved and to our standards or matching what's out there. So then in the future, if it were to ever connect, if the commitment was to ever be removed by our county council, we're not out there spending taxpayer money for something that could have been avoided.
Anything else? Questions, thoughts, comments?
I appreciate the petitioner threading the needle, as you said. I think it's as good an outcome, granting the waiver is as good an outcome as can realistically be achieved here.
I have a comment. This project's been going on for a while. Excuse me. And when I signed up to participate as a public servant, the mayor told me that housing stocks were very low, and it was on his top priority to increase the housing stocks in the area because it was having an impact on economic development. So I'm feeling that this project really needs to happen. And I think that if we give a waiver, get this to happen, and to see what happens in the future, I think I'm in favor of the waiver.
And we can do the waiver, just waive it, or we can take staff's conditions.
Yep. Correct.
A lot of ways to go.
There, with a waiver request, staff does provide a recommendation. We are recommending, it was 5 conditions to be met. This is kind of your, this is your commission, your plan commission. You can add, remove, require more, less, but that is staff's recommendation. I do want to remind you that for waivers, we do have criteria, and they have provided answers to that criteria. That's one, that the request will not be detrimental to the public health, safety, welfare, or injurious to property within a reasonable proximity to the subject property involved in the waiver request. 2, the strict application of the applicable ordinance standard will result in a practical difficulty in the development due to the particular physical surroundings, unique constraints, topographical conditions of the subject property. These conditions will not substantially alter the character of the subject district or neighborhood. 3, the practical difficulties were not self-imposed and cannot be overcome by reasonable design alternatives. Financial hardship does not constitute grounds for a waiver. Since they did agree to this commitment, I'm not sure if that was self-imposed or not. Number 4, the waiver request is necessary and represents a minimal deviation from the explicit ordinance standards. When they submitted, they were simply requesting nothing be done. I do not think that is a minimal deviation. I think getting the paths connected, the sidewalks connected, bringing the asphalt all the way to the property line and doing the bulk bollards is closer to a minimal deviation than what the petitioner requested. Was frankly disappointed by their request.
So, and let me make sure I understand. So Green Valley Drive, as it is now, their pavement comes up to the property line. This one, pavement will meet, they'd just be bollards.
Yeah, Green Valley, I do believe, comes up to the property line with Lee Lane.
There is a more of a
It's
gap.
mass graded, but there was a bit of a gap that is in public right of way right now. And we would request that if the conditions are a part of this, or if it's denied and the connectivity is required, we would ask that public right of way be constructed. And it's common for developers to work within the right of way to make connections to their site.
All right,
Do we get to speak? No,
I need to
sit down. Do we get to speak?
no, unfortunately, this is not a public hearing.
All right, everybody.
Mr. Shell, you're online. I didn't know if you had anything. Make sure you.
Yeah, it's a difficult situation, and I have concerns that that Mr. Nelson raises. There's a reason we have these standards and ordinances. That's kind of the way I'm looking at it.
So, anyone have anything else? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion for waiver request PC 2024-036 with the 5 conditions of the planning department.
I'm very sorry to interrupt you. There is one other waiver request that they've requested. Staff has brought to their attention that they read it, but they have not formally withdrawn it. That is on the block plan. I prefer that we keep these separate so we can continue with your motion. But afterwards, there is another request that has not formally been removed.
So is your motion to approve the waiver subject to the 5 conditions recommended by the
Absolutely.
staff? Okay.
So we have a motion by Mr. Milborn to approve, subject to the 5 conditions in the staff report. Do we have a second? We have a second by Mr. Price. Proceeding to the roll call vote, Mr. Lexi,
Aye.
Mr. Price,
Aye.
Mr. Milborn,
Aye.
Mr. Probst,
Aye.
Mr. Shell,
Aye.
Mr. St. John,
Nay.
and I am a nay. So the motion carries 5-2. Now there's the second waiver request.
Yes, for the record, the petitioner was the waiver request of UDO section 10-06-02, having been satisfied per staff's report.
That's I think staff report request number 1. I just want to make sure.
Yes, that is, staff has the full citation. Block speed, it's for residential blocks shall not be longer than 600 feet. Their primary plat meets this, and so we don't feel like it is necessary, and with them withdrawing it, staff is satisfied.
All right, then. That concludes PC 2024-036 then. Any new business from the floor? Seeing none, any announcements?
I have a question for the planning director. Have you selected a date that the comprehensive master plan will come before the planning commission, and will that meeting involve all members of the plan commission, all be here representing themselves?
So unfortunately, I do think we have an absence, but we have selected September 9th. That is our next plan commission meeting. And actually, we just received the final draft, and I'll be sending that out first thing tomorrow morning to plan commission and council. It'll also be posted, if you go there, it'll probably be there tonight on our Greenwood Comprehensive Plan website, if you just can't wait to see it. So that will be September 9th. That will be the public hearing for the plan commission. After that, if it is not continued, it will go to common council following the plan commission public hearing. So September 9th will be the date that is before us. I think we might have one member absent. Maybe they'll be there for common council though.
Yeah.
So their voice will be heard somehow in this matter.
Thank you very much.
All right. No other announcements. One last motion.
Move to adjourn.
So moved.